Hello and welcome, dear friends of the human family, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me for this video update here on this channel. And I've been away for a little bit more than a week. And that's why I thought I'll take a little bit of time today and put a few slides together for you. What's going on with me, what's going on in my life, and how it all sort of fits together in the bigger picture of what's going on in the world and what my projects are that I'm working on, and sort of like the themes of my work. And I couldn't give you a video for a week now, which normally I like to do a video every week at least to keep you up to date. That's why I thought I'll come on now and share with you some bits and pieces and see what comes from that. However, I've been very busy with this book, which I can highly recommend. Can you see it? Dispelling Wetiko, Breaking the Curse of Evil by Paul Levy. And I was synchronistically guided to read this book. I have heard of it before, as well as dealing with the topic of all topics, meaning the topics of what is evil. And that is a very fascinating issue to get into. The evil, and from evil we get the divine, and how do those two cross-relate? Are they separate issues? These are very important concepts to ponder on when it comes to Gnosticism and mystery school tradition. And it's very helpful understanding how the Native American tradition sees the Wetiko virus and how it relates to the world that we live in now. So I want to head right into the slides and let's see how the transmissions of the earth as an antenna for divine information, crucial, important information, what I can come up with and what comes through me. So I'd like to share one of the main themes that I took out from the first few pages that I've read of Paul Levy's book, which is The Path of the Wounded Healer. And myself, I sometimes feel a little bit like I shouldn't be sharing detailed information about what's going on in my private space and what's going on with me personally. However, I think it's important. I'll continue this theme in being open about my own process of awakening and the struggles and troubles and trials and jubilations that I've been going through, which is all part of our life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And to come into holistic healing as an individual, and furthermore collectively as a species, it's of great importance to recognize also the dark side inside of us. And Paul Levy explains in his book The Path of the Wounded Healer, and that's something I can very much associate myself with. And this concept is all about, the wounded healer is about someone who needs to suffer from the illness or from an illness, him or herself, in order to be able to heal that sort of illness. And with me, what I've been drawn to my entire life is actually healing the world. Asking the question, how can I find answers to all of the world problems? As all of the world problems are different symptoms of one underlying cause, and that has been the driving force throughout my awakening journey that kick-started in 2009. So I'm talking 12 to 13 years along my journey of finding the underlying cause for the catastrophe that we witness in the world, the insanity, the inhumane way how humanity destructs, self-destructs, and is in the process of destroying itself, and how to remedy that. That's deep on my heart, and with this concept of the Wetiko virus, I'm getting somewhere along with my thesis and my investigation, which I want to share with you. Human society, even before the muzzles showed up and the paranoia about each other really kicked in at the beginning of 2020, human society, even before then, was and has been insane. As the saying goes from Jiddu Krishnamurti, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And in times before the start of the crisis of the beginning of this decade, in the 21st century, it was easier to hide the fact that the human race is suffering of mass psychosis that we have normalized and see as that's how life is on planet Earth. You have to pay taxes to criminal governments, to criminals running your country, taking orders from a criminal mafia that destroys the Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the planet, destroys the biosphere through microwave weapon technology of all G's, placing satellites into the ionosphere, threatening all life on the planet, and then turning round in its psychopathic nature and saying and demanding you be the perpetrator through human-caused climate change. You, the human being, just you by being here on this planet, are the biggest problem. It has always been normalized insanity. And one of the modus operandi of the hidden hand, the controlling element that structures society in order to serve its agenda and play out its agenda, one of their modus operandi is creating normality, collectivism, collectivization, and everyone who does it from their own free will, as well as those who resist normality because of its insanity, are then forced to conform to that new normality that is being set up, especially in times right now. However, is this really possible? That we can be forced into a dark New World Order reality? Or is there a way we can turn away from that imposed vision for the world and implement our own vision, the way we wish to see the world? Because this is a psychological war, my friends, listening to this message here. It's important to eliminate all of the factors that distract us and to state exactly what the most important points, the most important concepts and themes right now are, and shine light on what's truly going on. We're living in times of psychological warfare of the highest degree. That's why it's important to give a little bit of a different perspective on things, that we stay in a state of balance, to see how the predicament we find ourselves in offers opportunities to remedy the situation and to pinpoint where the problem really lies. It is not to be found outside in the world in any certain individual or in any think tank or political organization or the World Economic Forum. It's in our mind where the problem and the solution arises, and where the battle takes place. So, as I said, human society has been living in normalized insanity for quite some time. Think about how throughout our life, most of us, definitely, I think all of us, the world has been in a state of war, which is criminal by its nature. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And we have accepted that as a given for so long. The wars, financial crises, the destruction of organic food, the imposition of monoculture, the destruction of nature because of that, multinational corporations destroying nature's beauty for the sake of illusory profit in the form of monetary gains. This is all insanity when viewed through the lens of life. It's all insane. However, in the event of the COVIDian cult coming to the surface and entering the world stage at the beginning of 2020, now it is coming into crystal clarity that there is a virus on this planet. However, it doesn't take physical form. However, it is pointing into the direction of the truth. And therefore, it's a great opportunity. My goodness, is it a crisis that is literally testing us to not go insane like the smartphone zombies portrayed here. The psychological war being waged on us is constant. Every day we wake up, it's another day in the insane world. That's why I do my regular rituals in the morning when I get up. I have to anchor myself, balance myself every day, and this is what my own journey demanded of me in the last month, to do this discipline again and to learn the core importance of the principle of discipline and of spiritual activity like Qigong, yoga and meditation. So as the COVIDian cult has risen to the front stage, the only thing that matters in the world, forget about schools, forget about other diseases, forget about how everyone's psychology is being destroyed and the human race is becoming more and more insane because of all of that. Forget about all of that. It's all about the COVIDian cult and its imposition of its psychopathic agenda for total control of humanity. That's what it's all about. It's all about this virus. However, could it be that COVID-19 is reflecting a much deeper aspect within the human unconscious that has been brewing in the background and has been brewing as a concept within the collective unconscious of humanity, as is portrayed here? COVID-19 is on the surface level of this iceberg model that is often also used to portray the conscious and unconscious parts of the human psyche for a reason. So could it be that with the virus theme now coming to the surface, it is reflecting to us, like in a dream? This virus is a reflection, like a symbol in a dream that is pointing to the true nature of the virus that exists in our world. And as soon as it comes to the surface, then it can be dealt with. Because this Wetiko virus is a mind virus that rules them all. And it's of fundamental importance to get a grip, and to know, to understand what this virus theme is pointing toward, what it is trying to communicate to us. Because as I learnt in Dispelling Wetiko, like I also often say, when we as a human race get the learning lesson in all of this, what it is trying to teach us, then the cause of the problem has to cease to exist, and the problem ceases to exist. We really, according to Paul Levy, we really have to find out what this Wetiko virus is trying to communicate to us. Because this virus is, as I said, that we're in a psychological war. This virus is the product of our psychology. It doesn't originate with anyone outside of us. The Wetiko virus originates and generates itself through the medium of our psyche. Therefore, it is within our psyche where we can heal it. We're dreaming it up. We're dreaming this Wetiko virus up. If we weren't going through this COVID situation, we would have to dream it up. And that's what we did. As we can see here in the subconscious, within the collective unconscious, underneath the surface of water, in the collective unconscious, we've had this virus for time immemorial, and now we've dreamed it up, and it has now come into conscious attention through the COVID-19 crisis, independent of if this virus exists, which it definitely doesn't in the form that we are being told it does. Of course, the viewers of this channel will know that, and I don't have to go deeper into that. So we're dreaming it up. We are doing that. This is accelerating our awakening, and that's the purpose that it serves. Globally and throughout the world, we are being put through a ritual of initiation. And we've got a choice. Either we get initiated into the dark occult, or we get initiated into the light occult. Or is it that we get initiated into both? That through the darkness and the path of the wounded healer, where our wounds come to the surface, the same as is portrayed here in this iceberg model, our wounds that lay dormant deeply within our unconscious now come to the surface. Those wounds come to the surface in order to be healed, fully integrated, and for us to truly embody ourselves and become vessels for the divine to work through us. Because you might also know this from your own experience in your life. The ones who have most been able to help you are the ones that have gone through the same problem or a similar problem themselves. Those are the ones that really have natural authority on giving good advice to how we can remedy situations. So globally, we're in a ritual of initiation, which is a major theme within the mystery school tradition of our history, of the indigenous cultures, being initiated in who and what we are, who we truly are. Being initiated into the nature of reality. And understanding Wetiko gives us a very foundational element into how the nature of reality really works. So I'm only doing a short video today. However, expect a longer video on this topic in the coming days and weeks, as I'll be going deeper into the subject of Wetiko, the nature of reality, and how to transform our shadow aspects from our greatest weaknesses into our greatest strengths. And like looking from outside into our reality, this is the perspective that can really help us, that calms us down, and that removes us from the involvement in the drama. Looking at reality as if we're looking into a picture and seeing all the drama playing out. However, we're observing this. And even in times of desperation, of frustration, where everything becomes too much for us, it gets too much, it's overwhelming. And this is the place I find myself in sometimes too. And the last month has been a very challenging month for myself. However, it's through these darkest phases where when you get a different perspective of it, you gain the most amazing wisdom and the most amazing treasure, the pearl of knowledge of your own soul is given to you when you come through this. And this is who we are, if we recognize it, that our inner world, our psyche, is dreaming up the world outside of us. It is speaking to us in symbols, like in our dreams at night. I would strongly suggest that the reality we experience is also of a dreamlike nature. And it's important to find that place of balance, of tranquility, where all anxiety leaves us, by realizing that this dance of forces and all the actors and beings we interact with in our life is part of this world stage, like inside this picture here. However, from where we come from, who we truly are, is outside of that drama, and that perception shift we can make at any point, to not be too invested in at all times, emotionally and energetically attached to all things happening within our surrounding environment, in our reality. This is the place you can absorb the energy you need in order to fulfill your prophecy and your birthright of freedom, by looking at reality like looking into a picture and being outside of the picture. The topic of all topics is what Wetiko reveals to us. The topic of all topics. Satan. Who is he? Why do we fear death so much when there is nothing to fear? Because we are and we will always be outside the drama surrounding us. And this is what Satan teaches us. The archetypal figure of Satan, that is one and the same as the Wetiko virus. It is teaching us to become conscious, to love ourselves with our light side and our dark side, and eliminate, resolve, and integrate the shadow aspects inside of us. This is something that I've gone through again the past months. For example, since the beginning of this year, I've been doing my work. However, I was still indulging in excess drinking and partying. Because I love a party. I really love it. I absolutely love it. However, I was drinking and smoking in excess, which I enjoyed at the time. However, everything that goes up must go down, and I'm learning now through being sober the last 2 months now. Only had like a few beers and I've been completely sober since a month now. I'm letting all of these unresolved energies and issues come up, and I try to not be identified with those feelings, with those emotions of trauma that come up, childhood traumas. You can't do it, you're not good enough, this and that. You'll probably recognize what I'm talking about. And instead of attaching myself to these emotions, being in my mind and judging myself for that, I try to take on this perspective. That's not me. It's all part of the drama inside of this painting called my life and the experience of this reality. And I let it flow through me, integrate it inside of me, and love myself anyway. Most of the times I fail, and sometimes I manage quite well. In actual fact, I do manage quite well, and I'm quite happy about how things are progressing with my inner journey, and being thankful for the learning lessons that are served to me to really truly become free, and not a fake version of freedom that I had been living this year, but our life experience serves as a learning experience. That's why I'm grateful for it. And that's what Gnosticism is all about, and true gnosis, ultimate knowledge, is coming full circle with this knowledge and not seeing Satan or this virus as something that we have to fight. No. Recognize that the inside and the outside world are intricately linked. It is one holistic field, one holistic system, one interconnected reality in which you, the self, exist in, dealing with all sorts of energy. And the energy we need to be dealing with right now is represented by the archetypal figure of Satan, and to which it corresponds as the Wetiko virus. This is what the zeitgeist is asking us to look into. And it is profoundly healing reading Dispelling Wetiko from Paul Levy, because it is making me come more to myself. And this is what I want, and I think this is part of human nature. I want peace. I want a peaceful resolution to this crisis. I don't want violence. It doesn't have to come to this. And if we understand and truly understand the agenda and the modus operandi of the enemy, we truly understand ourselves, and therefore the enemy was only a perceived enemy and an optical delusion of what it truly was, which is an archetypal figure in the which we call Satan, that brings us closer and brings us home to ourselves. We know what we want by knowing what we don't want. The principle of inversion is very powerful in finding out the truth and who we truly are. So thank you for listening to this. I hope you've gained some insight from this. I'll be continuing this theme in the coming videos. And thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And that's it. See you next time. Take very good care. Bye bye.